Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. So I want to look at two scriptures today before we dig into the I Am 31 days of looking at ourselves through the lens of our Father. We'll dig into that tomorrow. Today I want to look at Numbers 13 and then we'll look at Romans. In Numbers, the Israelites, I've been reading a lot about the Israelites. We did a women's conference this weekend. I had a 2-session Friday night and Saturday morning. And Friday night, the Lord had me we talked about Jericho. And so I've been reading a lot about the Israelites and their journey and so on and so forth. And it's really amazing. It's just read the word sometime. If you're not, I encourage you to get into it because it's pretty amazing. The Israelites had come out of Egypt. The Lord delivered them, called Moses to rescue them, lead them out. And they've come out of Egypt. They've crossed the Red Sea, getting ready to move towards Canaan. And Moses decided to send 12 spies into Canaan to scope out the land, right? Spy out the land, see what we're heading into. Because God has said this is the land flowing with milk and honey. That's provision. It is just full and rich and good. And it belongs to the Israelites. It was for the people of Israel. So Moses sends the spies. Well, the Lord said to Moses, this is Numbers 13:1, send men to explore and scout out for yourselves the land of Canaan, which I give to the Israelites. From each tribe of their fathers, send a man, everyone a leader or head among them. All right. So Moses sent them to scout the land of Canaan. This is verse 17. And he said to them, get up and go this way by the Negeb and up to the hill country and see what the land is and, whether the people who dwell there are strong or weak, few or many, and whether the land they live in is good or bad, and whether the cities they dwell in are camps or strongholds, and what the land is, whether it is fat or lean, whether there's timber or not. So he says, and be of good courage, bring back some of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first ripe grapes. So they went out and they came into the valley of Eshcol and cut down from there one branch of grapes, cluster of grapes, and they carried it on a pole between two of them. And they brought some pomegranates and figs. Could you imagine? These are grown men and they're carrying a cluster of grapes on a pole between two men because it is so full and rich. That's amazing. But they came to Moses and Aaron and to all the Israelite congregation in the wilderness of Paran at Kadesh and brought them word and showed them the land's fruit. They told Moses, we came into the land which you sent us. Surely it flows with milk and honey. This is its fruit. But the people who dwell there are strong, and the cities are fortified and very large. Moreover, there we saw the sons of Anak, of great stature and courage. Amalek dwells in the land of the south. The Hittite, the Jebusite, the Amorite dwell in the hill country, and the Canaanite dwells by the sea along by the side of the Jordan River. And Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to conquer it. But his fellow scouts said, we are not able to go against these people of Canaan, for they are stronger than we are. So they brought the Israelites an evil report of the land which they had scouted out, saying, the land through which we went to spy out is a land that devours its inhabitants. And all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. There we saw the Nephilim, the sons of Anak, who come from giants, and we were in our own sights as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. And so these spies who went out to check out the land that God's given them 10 of them come back with that report that we were as grasshoppers in our own sight, and so we were in theirs. But in nowhere in God's promise or conversation with the Israelites or Moses did he say anything about you're smaller than they are, or you're fewer in number than they are, or I want you to go in and tell me how you feel about taking the land. Go in, check out the people, and tell me if you feel you're capable. It's not what he said at all. He said, just go in, explore, and scout for yourselves the land which I give you. He didn't say anything about your abilities, didn't say anything about a comparison. He said, I'm giving you this. Why don't you go check it out? And fear struck the Israelites because in their own sight, there was no contest. The inhabitants of Canaan won, and they could just keep it. But God said, I'm giving this to you. So now we have to view ourselves not as grasshoppers, but as God's people. See, that's where it makes all the difference in the world. Is that natural circumstances, natural strength, natural abilities are good, but when God has called us to do something, or when God has given us something, he's not relying on our strength and abilities. We're relying on his. And so we were as grasshoppers in our sight. Doesn't really matter. Joshua and Caleb said, we are well able to take that land. Why? Because they saw themselves as God's people. And we'll start digging in here tomorrow. I'll see you then. Bye, y'all.